My name's Patricia Turner. I'm the acting CEO of the Tasmanian Aboriginal Centre, and the reason for this press conference today is to express our very grave concern about the Federal Attorney General's decision to defund our legal service after 42 years. So we have a number of supporters who have come along today, for which I thank you very much for giving up your time. So on the panel we have Trudy Maluga, who's the State Secretary of the TAC, Cassie O'Connor, who is the leader of the Greens, and congratulations on that. We have Laura Giddens, who is the... Lara. Oh, Lara! Sorry, darling. God, they're on to me. Pierre Slicer, who is a revered member of the legal fraternity, and a great friend and supporter of our legal service. Paul Lennon sends his apologies, but he's with us in spirit. He's had a family matter arise, and he will continue to support us. Susan Fay? Where's Susan? Mark Reinberger? Luke Reinberger, sorry, Luke. God. Executive Director of the Law Society of Tasmania, thank you very much. And Matthew Burney, who's a member of the Governance Committee of the Law Society of Tasmania. So Trudy, over to you first.
Come on, Trudy. I'd like to thank everyone for turning up today. I knew you would, because power to the people. This is unjust, it is wrong, they haven't followed their process, and this is a political decision gone wrong. What a farcical mess. The only reason they are doing that to us in this state is because we're the noisiest, the mouthiest, and the strongest. Their objective, from my point of view, is close down the strongest legal service, and they will gradually knock the rest off. And they will never, the Federal Attorney General's Department will never forget Tasmania, because the Palawa people are going to show them what we're made of, and we will never go down without a fight. We've achieved great things in our legal service. We've achieved land return. We have achieved compensation to the stolen generation. We have achieved the right to go and hunt and gather on our lands. We are not files, we are people. And shame on them for thinking that we're going to give up our legal service without a battle. We are not files, we're not numbers, and we're letting the Attorney General's Department know in Canberra that we are people and we will band together no matter what. I thank you all for coming here, because I know that we're all ready to roll our sleeves up and we're going to really make this happen. I think this battle is winnable and achievable, and our passion for our people and what happens to them will get us over the line. I'd like to thank all our friends for coming here today, Cassie O'Connor, the Law Society, Lara Giddings, and especially Pierre, who we hold close and deeply in our hearts. And when I seen that man walk into this room, I know we've already won this battle, so thank you. When you do the time limit, time limit on them to return our funds, and thank you.
Lara? Thank you, Lara.
Well, good morning everyone, or good afternoon I should say. What a rousing welcome from Trudy, and thank you Trudy for that statement this morning. I stand here proudly with you to take up the battle at both the federal and the state level with my political colleague Cassie O'Connor as well. This is an absolute insult. You are the only Aboriginal legal service in the entire nation who is asked to tender or to apply for your own money. That says a lot in itself, that this is an attack on the Tasmanian Aboriginal Centre and the Tasmanian Aboriginal Legal Service, and it must be overturned. We'll be doing all we can to call on the federal government to reverse this decision. We'll also be asking the Victorian Aboriginal Legal Service to not go ahead with this winning grant that they have been supplied with. And we'll also be putting a lot of pressure this week in Parliament on both the Premier, Will Hodgman, and our Attorney General, Vanessa Goodwin, to stand up for you. The Premier wants to reset his relationship with the Aboriginal community. Well, this is the first test, the very first test of resetting that relationship. If he does not take up the cudgels for you, take up the baton, take up the fight to Tony Abbott and say this is not good enough for the Tasmanian Aboriginal people and community, then he will know about this, not just from you, but from many people in the community who are equally outraged. We know this will affect people in many ways. There will be members of your community who will not want to participate in a service provided by Victorians. Essentially, that's what it is. Victorians coming here and providing a service that we can provide better than they can for the Aboriginal people, the first people of these lands. So you can take it from me that we will be here for you, the Labor Party will be here for you. We'll work closely with Sarah, with Trudy, with all of you in the community to try to get this dreadful decision overturned as quickly as possible. Thank you.
In 1971, 1972, we set up an organisation, and it exists today. It is the only organisation that we have which has remained unchanged, and the reason why it has remained solid and unchanged is because once we set up the democratic principle of voting for the state committee, which itself would run the policy for us, and that is alive today, and that is our heritage, whatever in 71, 72 gave us. And that is our strength. No other legal service has had the strength of ours within that structure. And that is something that everybody here who is involved in that should be proud of. I'm proud. I'm proud for a different reason, in a way. I'm proud because I was accepted as that. I've always regarded myself as being proud that I'm accepted as family. We did have some discussion about what age you had to be an elder. And I remember, I can see two here, we agreed on 50. I'm now 71.
Yeah, but then you put the age up on that.
I am proud to stand here with you, and I will do what I can do. And I meant what my throwaway line, if we end up in the AAT or the federal court, I'll be there. I'll be there. My skills, my knowledge and my membership of this family remain unchanged. Thank you.
Susan Fay, the Director of the Women's Legal Service. Thank you.
Hi everyone, thanks for having me here today. As someone who's running a service that's just faced similar but not as catastrophic situation as what you're doing here, all I can say is listen to these guys. You have to stand up and fight. You have to actually get out there and you have to say what you want, say what you mean, and actually push for it. Sitting back and going, what are we going to do? It's not going to work. You actually have to verbalise it. You have to show the strength of community. We've had a long and very proud association with the ALS. We've always been really happy to work with Sarah and everybody else. The service it's provided is an excellent one. Couldn't rate it more highly, and the thought that it could actually go to another service from another state is just outrageous. I've been absolutely livid the entire weekend because, you know, the lack of, you know, the media's here now, but the lack of media, the lack of outrage has just stunned me. So I think, you know, get the community behind it. You've got the support of everybody in the room and a lot more people who are still just finding out about this. And the only way to keep this service is to absolutely fight. It's a brilliant service and it's critical to the community that it stays in the community. Thank you.
Okay. Matthew?
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Matthew Verney. I'm the President of the Law Society of Tasmania, and I'm very pleased to be able to be here and to lend the Law Society support to this very important fight that you are now embarking upon. The Aboriginal Legal Service has been up and running and providing an excellent service for over 40 years. I can say to you from the perspective of the Tasmanian legal profession, it is a service that is highly regarded and highly respected and delivers a vital service to members of your community. Can I say that it is clear that the proposal or the intention for the Victorian service is that they will be replacing your very senior and experienced lawyers who are so well regarded and who are so in touch with the Aboriginal community. They'll be replacing them with junior lawyers, only a few years out. They will not have the experience to be able to adequately and properly represent the Aboriginal community in our court system, whether that be the family law, the criminal law or the child protection law systems, and that is something that concerns the Law Society very greatly. The outcome is going to be, in my view, catastrophic for members of the Aboriginal community. It's important, I think, for you to fight very hard, and I can say to you, on behalf of the Law Society of Tasmania, that we will do everything that we can. We will advocate as energetically as we can to try and get this decision reversed. It is absolutely fundamental, not just for the Aboriginal community, in my view, but the broader Tasmanian community. And so we're with you in the fight. We'll do everything we can.
New leader of the Tasmanian Greens.
Thank you, everyone. Before I begin, I wish to thank you for inviting me onto your land today and to pay my respects to elders past and present and acknowledge Tasmania's First People as the original owners and custodians of this beautiful island in Truita, Tasmania. When I first read about this decision late last week, I could not believe it and I couldn't work it out. And I know now, of course, it's just cheap politics, but it was one of the most disrespectful decisions ever to come out of Canberra. But I'm absolutely confident you're going to win this fight because you're proud people. You know what fighting's all about. You know how to get there, you're a patient people, but we don't have time, this time, to wait for George Brandis to come to his senses. What we need is for the Premier of Tasmania and the Attorney General to stand up for the Tasmanian Aboriginal Legal Service. And I've been thinking over the course of the weekend, what would my first question be to the Premier as leader? Well, I've made up my mind. And I don't like to give away tactics. But of course, I will be asking the Premier about this tomorrow, and about what he will be doing to advocate for Tasmania's Aboriginal peoples. And I think he will have an answer prepared. And to be fair, and I try to be fair, I do think that the Premier is serious about resetting the relationship. Of course, we know that's about much, much, much more than words, but this can be the Premier's first real step towards resetting the relationship. If he hasn't been on the phone to George Brandis yet, or if Vanessa Goodwin hasn't been on the phone to George Brandis yet, I'm sure they'll be making some calls today or tomorrow. But this is a decision that is absolutely reversible because it is so thoroughly wrong. And it's fundamentally, this is about access to justice for your proud people. And this is a fight you are going to win. I'm absolutely sure.